to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Trustee Bennett?
Yes, here.
Trustee Hatton?
Yes.
Trustee McGurran?
Yes. Administration updates. Lori Cobb.
Good evening. I would like to report to the board that it was recommended by Energy Alliances, the consultant that assisted with the solid waste and recycling RFP process, to reach out and get a legal opinion on possibly revising the contract with Rumpke. Since Rumpke was the only bidder, due to their proximity to Ross Township and the lack of many competitors, the ask was if the contract terms could be changed from a subsequent term that we could enter into, instead of a subsequent term, change it to 4 subsequent terms, and if that change would not violate the competitive bidding requirement in the Ohio Revised Code. And the legal opinion is that change would not violate that requirement since it's not mandating it. The legal opinion did go on to say that it is advisable every once in a while to go through the formal process just to make sure that the service and rates that the township's receiving are the most applicable. But with the board's approval, I will go ahead and modify the contract, and then approval of the contract will be before you the first meeting in February. So in other words, at the end of each 5-year contract, you could put it out for bid, but you wouldn't have to. It could remain at Rumpke for another 5-year period.
And it's always been Rumpke?
Well, the township first went into the residential solid waste and recycling 10 years ago. And at that point, the process was conducted with Coleraine Township and Springfield Township. At the end of that 5-year contract, we were asked to not participate again. So Ross Township was able then to enter into a new 5-year contract with Rumpke because the original contract had the wording that we could enter into a subsequent term of 5 years. So at the end of that 5-year process, which is coming up March 31st, we needed to go through the formal RFP process. But if we revise the contract's term, the term to 4 subsequent terms, then at the end of each 5 years, if we want to, we could go through the formal process, but we wouldn't have to. We could remain with Rumpke.
Fine with it.
Yes, please.
Okay, that's all the administration has this evening.
Thank you, Lori. Fiscal officer updates. Julie Joyce Smith.
Good evening, everybody. I am in my typical trying to end 25 and trying to start 26. A lot of moving parts. I will be getting ready to process W-2s here in the next week to 10 days, hopefully sooner rather than later. I'd like to get them out before the 31st requirement. In addition to doing normal W-2 work, the qualified overtime exemption for 2025. It's optional whether we notify our employees, but I was able to pretty quickly identify that we have 17 employees that had, whether they're still here or not, had overtime for last year, and they really only have to claim the half. In a time and a half situation, they only have to claim the half. So I was able to quantify that, and it looks like UAN does provide a pretty quick tutorial on how you can amend the W-2, because I have to individually go in and modify those 17 employees' W-2s once I kind of load them from UAN, then I have to go in and manually edit them. But it doesn't sound, I say that it doesn't sound complicated. And we're just going to hope I didn't just jinx myself. So that's the good news. I also am going to be busy doing annual reconciliations for 2025 withholdings with all the local entities, everyone from City of Hamilton to the state of Ohio, anybody who I have to do a withholding for on income and income tax. There's typically a year reconciliation that you have to do at the beginning of the year. So it's a really busy time of year for me. And then I have already scheduled with my auditor of state representative. She's coming in on February 18th to help me close my year. So those are all good things. So just a busy time of year. Getting that first payroll of the year out the door which hits tomorrow, is always fun because of, wage changes, new withholdings, changing of withholdings, premiums on healthcare, the whole fun. It's just a lot of fun, a lot of moving parts. Fingers crossed. I only found one error and reached out to that person and said, I accidentally withhold it. I'll get it back to you. They said, no problem. Don't worry about it. So life's good. That's it for me.
All right. Thank you, Julie. Discussion items. Number one would be the fire levy, and we should probably start with Chief Johns with that.
Just the second reading of the legislation to put the 3 mil renewal on a ballot in May. Trustee Ben and I talked, just the wording here, I think Julie said it's probably how it has to be for the prosecutor. Says fully self-sufficient. The 3 mil is not going to keep us fully self-sufficient. It's a Band-Aid. We're going to have to come back and ask for more. There's no question about it. That's just the facts. I having a hard time filling the seats without paying overtime, and I got 2 trucks broken today already that are going to be expensive repairs, and it's 2 weeks into the year. So 3 mils is going to keep us maybe where we're at. It's not going to get us ahead.
And I think I heard you say that that's a 3 mil renewal, which means no new taxes.
Right.
We need to just keep saying that it's the same. It's what you're already paying.
What does that drop the effective rate down to, Julie, approximately?
I just received the tax rate sheet from the auditor yesterday, and I haven't really had, I think the 3 mils down to 1.67. So effectively, the residents are paying $1.67 per thousand. And I might be a little off on that, but we had an issue with the certificate. We were in the right church, wrong pew kind of thing on one issue, and then they had inverted the valuation in the revenue line, which would have made Chris really happy to get 333 million annually. Yeah. But they had inverted it and had to fix it. And thank goodness for Eagle Eyes, Lori and Marianne. Normally, when we do a request, I've already done the work, but I didn't have the abstract from the auditor and I didn't have the new rates. So fortunately, it jumped out at Administrator Kyle. What these 2 numbers look like they're and yeah, they are absolutely in the wrong spots. So I haven't had a lot of time to. But to answer your question, sir, I think that 3 mils down to $1.67.
Okay, so it's half-ish.
Ish.
Okay. Chief, there's talk about eliminating property taxes in Ohio. And what, if any, plans do you have if that happens? Is that?
You're not going to have a fire department.
No. I don't know.
Those guys will not stay.
Okay.
They'll lose every one of them.
But they're going to have to go to a different state.
Yeah.
To get employed because the entire state of Ohio will be without a fire department.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I've made my position pretty clear on property taxes. I know it's probably not the most popular one, but I think that's unconscionable that can happen. And I think I think the law of unintended consequences, again, it's a quaint idea. Let's eliminate property taxes. Hey, nobody has to pay property taxes.
Right.
But there's a lot of
Well,
fallout.
you do know that this has been a systematic, the first thing was changing the margin in which it takes to get a statewide issue on the
Yeah.
ballot.
Yep.
Dumbed it down.
Yeah.
And that's how the legalization of marijuana got through. And then there was discussion of putting it back because people were mad. It should be hard to change.
Yeah.
And Ohio has made it fairly easy. So this was, if it's on the ballot, I strongly think it will pass.
Mhm.
And then I also foresee some type of legal action because townships are going to be essentially put out of business.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And we're the most efficient form of government.
Yep.
And it's on the mind of my people too. They're asking, should I just go,
Go to Michigan.
Find
go to
somewhere
Indiana,
else.
Go to Kentucky.
the part-timers, they don't have to be here. They're here because they want to be here.
Mhm.
So,
But if
But
we don't have the
if
means
you don't
to
have
pay them,
right.
but no one in Ohio. I mean, cities, municipalities, anyone who has an income tax will have the ability, but even at that, a municipality still probably 50% of their operating budget is reliant upon property taxes. The income tax doesn't fix everything for them. It's going to be problematic. Schools, I don't know how schools will keep their doors open. I mean, this is going to be, while I understand why and how this referendum is coming through, it got people's attention, that's for sure. But there's no fix. There's no, well, we're going to have to increase sales tax to 30%. I mean, then what's going to happen to businesses in Ohio that have no choice but to charge whatever that rate is when you can just go across the border to Indiana and buy the same car, refrigerator? There are big, long-reaching tentacles on this one.
What I did hear, I believe I'm right on this, is if you purchase a car, the tax you pay is where the car is registered.
Okay.
So going to Indiana to buy a car, you're still going to pay Ohio taxes on your car. Not that that's
No,
the
but
driving force in this, but
No.
nonetheless, we'll be buying our groceries in Lawrenceburg.
unless Ohio decides to re-implement some sort of personal property tax. Then you pay on, things with motors and.
Just want to ask a question.
Participation.
Yeah, it's coming. Anybody have any questions about the 3.0 levy?
No, I think it's fine.
Okay. All right, clout membership. I don't have that in front of me, but I think that was $200. So do we want
$200 for the year.
to try that?
I think so.
Okay. All right.
There's a resolution later
Okay.
So that'll be a resolution later in this.
tonight.
All right. Employee vacation leave policy, implementation of accrual method. Fiscal Officer Smith talked about that last meeting, and I, for one, was in favor of it.
After discussing with the different department heads, there was a little heartburn over moving to a biweekly accrual, and I get that. So Administrator Kyle has found some different verbiage that would cover us, basically explains that it gets front-loaded with the expectation that upon your termination, you would only be paid out for what you've accrued, what you've worked through the year. So it could be prorated. We do have a situation, however, though, and this will have to be, because this won't likely get adopted until the first meeting in February, if you move forward with it, cleaning up the language, and I believe Administrator Kyle has provided it to all of you to review.
Just the current policy.
Oh, this
Because you
is-
and I really didn't get a chance
Oh,
to finish
okay.
discussing that.
Oh, well, she has found some verbiage that basically redefines and cleans up some of this current language. But I'm comfortable going forward as long as we have a way of saying, you're only going to get paid out for what you've earned. We front loaded at the beginning of the year, that's fine. take it. She's found some language that we have to check with legal on, basically saying if you take it all and then you decide to leave us, is there a clawback for us? And that may be a liability we take on. I don't know. We'll have to get some legal guidance on that. But if you're comfortable, I'm abandoning the biweekly accrual with some cleanup language to our existing policy that says, if you leave us for any reason, your separation of service, you will only be paid out for what you have earned. And so 26 pays in a year and you make it through 5, you'll get paid out for the 5 that you worked. It's a pretty simple method. Is there any heartburn, hesitation, anything you want?
That's more palatable to the department heads,
Yeah.
Very.
but it still gives administration.
And it takes the liability off the township.
Yep.
As long as there's not down the road a legal challenge to that we have to
The only
with.
thing I foresee is we do have someone terminating, and I don't know when they will, and I don't know when this policy will be effective, but unfortunately, with that particular person, you're probably gonna have to pay them out because it's front loaded and according to our current policy. And even if we were able to change it, I don't know how ethical.
Yep.
Seems kind of sneaky on our part, so
Yeah,
not interested in doing that.
I'm not either. And when will that be ready? Is that a next meeting type thing?
The fiscal officer and I will flesh out all of the entire policy to make sure everything flows properly. Then I'll send it for a legal review. So hopefully, we do have an extra week between this meeting.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll have a turnaround to be able to get it to you by then.
Okay.
It would make me feel a lot better to have that little issue resolved.
Okay. Ross IGA Community Grocery Store status.
I asked the question.
Mhm.
Just because I was curious, if anybody knows, is it still open? What are their plans? What's happening?
I think they're officially closed.
They are officially closed. And
We'll have a chance in a minute.
That came up before a little bit. It has. I think as a board, showing favoritism toward any private business would be problematic for us. As much as I know that we need something like that, my own family needs it. The township needs it. Any impression of impropriety where we are trying to draw in someone too aggressively might cause us an issue. It is my understanding that Welch Real Estate owns that property, which is private, and he is leasing it to whoever to operate within that building, which is private. So there are 2 private entities there that, I guess for lack of a better way to say it, can do whatever they want to do with it. And in spite of the fact we don't like it, most of what I've read about government getting involved in private business steers you away from it. So that's my 2 cents.
What role do we play, if any, in economic development?
I guess we would have to decide first of all, do we want to draw in economic development? Not saying
Only an
no.
open question.
Yeah.
My point being is that obviously most municipalities have economic development directors that merely encourage people to connect with the property owner. And likewise, I think there is a number of people that we represent have concern that we will not have that grocery store. I think it's impacted virtually everybody sitting up here. I was just curious, what role do we play, if any, in economic development? Not that we're going out and market for the realtor, property owner, or the business group.
In previous meetings, I had brought up information about Aldi. There was a lot of it seemed like that was sort of a business that would fit possibly well in that place. And to the best of my memory, they want 20,000 cars to be going by there every day. They have a specific amount of people, rooftops, as Mr. Young has said in the past, that they want within a 3-mile radius. And we are nowhere near,
No,
Right.
okay.
we are nowhere near their
Mhm.
requirements, which was sort of disheartening to me because I kind of thought we'd be right in there with them, but apparently not. I suppose we could reach out to not IGA, but other IGA owners to let them know. The guy that owns this one, I think, also owns the one down in Clifton. I think. Don't quote me on that, but that one had some issues several years ago. So I'm not sure who operates the IGAs.
Is the
I
current
don't-
situation, are they tied up in litigation, which it could also prevent the owner from getting a new tenant in there? It's been my understanding that there might be some litigation going on that's private between with the current leasee, which could
I don't know.
put off them being able to get somebody in there.
Yep. I'm not against trying to draw somebody in there.
No.
I,
I was just fact finding because I didn't understand, just asking the question.
Yeah.
If anybody understood
Yeah.
what was happening.
Okay.
in terms of economic development, there's no reason not to talk to anyone who wants to put a business here.
Yeah, sure.
You know,
Yeah, being new to the board, I just wonder what role, if any, the trustees played in that. Not that we would be out negotiating contracts or attempting to encourage purchase or sale of property. Just a thought.
anything else from the board? Yes. May 9th, the Historical Society in Ross is going to be doing a Founder's Day. It's going to be at the Venice Cemetery. It will involve military, of course. There will be an honoring of, I think it was 4 Revolutionary soldiers that were laid to rest in that cemetery. It will also be connected to the 250th birthday of America. They have not yet submitted any, say, paperwork to the board or anything, but I did want to kind of get that out there that we will be involved in some manner to that. I've talked to Lieutenant to find out if they would be interested in doing color guard. I think the Ross band, there will be part of the Ross High School band that will be involved in that. More information to come, but I thought it would be good to start getting that out there. So I think it'll be a really good thing for Ross to for us to show our support of the township and the people who got us to where we are today. So just want to get that out there. Expedited legislation purpose. At resolution 2026-007, in an effort to keep the fire department fully self-sufficient, the board declared the necessity to renew the current 3 mil fire and EMS levy. The Butler County Auditor provided the necessary certificate of estimated property tax revenue dated January 12, 2026.
15. I'm sorry, I didn't fix it.
Yeah, it's been amended to the 15th.
Okay. Revenue dated January 15th, 2026. To the prosecutor. And the prosecutor prepared the following resolution to proceed with the tax by placing the levy on the May general election ballot. Move for the adoption of resolution number 2026-008, determining to proceed with submitting the question of a tax levy for fire protection and emergency medical services. Need a second?
Second?
Discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Hatton?
Yes.
Trustee Bennett?
Yes.
Trustee McGurran?
Yes. Purpose: during a previous meeting, the board discussed the opportunity to join Clout. The following resolution authorizes that membership. Move for the adoption of resolution number 2026-009, authorizing membership in the Coalition of Large Ohio Urban Townships. Need a second.
Second?
Discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Hatton?
Yes.
Trustee Bennett?
Yes.
Trustee McGurran?
Yes. Purpose: to amend the revenue in various funds for fiscal year 2026. Move for the adoption of resolution number 2026-010, amending revenue in various funds and requesting an amended certificate of estimated resources from the Butler County Auditor. Need a second?
Second?
Discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Hatton?
Yes.
Trustee Bennett?
Yes.
Trustee McGurran?
Yes. Purpose: meeting date change due to scheduling conflict with the Ohio Township Association's annual conference. Move for the adoption of motion number 26-013 to approve changing the date of the February 2026 regular meeting to Tuesday, February 3rd, instead of the regularly scheduled date of Thursday, February 5th, 2026. Need a second.
Second?
Discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Hatton?
Yes.
Trustee Bennett?
Yes.
Trustee McGurran?
Yes. Public participation. Everybody that's here knows the rules. We have any public participation tonight?
Oh, we do. Mr. Reininger. And I believe Mr. York might have.
All right. Tom would like to talk about the Ohio Peace Officers Dependent Fund.
Good evening. Thank you for letting me share some thoughts with you. My name is Tom Reiniger. I live at 3223 Rocky Hill Drive. And what I'd like to share with you is some information I've been able to glean on the Volunteer Peace Officers Dependent Fund. Now, as you know, that fund was created in 2016, and it is in the Ohio Revised Code 143. It's also known as the Jason Gresco Act. And Ross Township is a participant in that fund. So my goal is to become more aware of how it operates and find, so I can be an effective board member. Now, surprisingly enough, the Peace Officers Dependent Fund is under the State Fire Marshal. It took me a few calls and several days to figure that out, but all the information I have is from the State Fire Marshal's office. There's some challenges in finding the information. So what I found is the information sheet the state provides with a phone number and a website. The phone number doesn't work and the website is not correct. So that's the first problem. And when I went to our state representative, Jennifer Gross, she was not able to access the fiscal information on the fund. So she sent me back to State Fire Marshal. So what I can report is the fund does not generate an annual report. There's been no change or amendment to the fund operations since 2016. Now, this is verbally told to me, and there has been no distribution of any benefits. So I submitted a public records request to State Fire Marshal, and this afternoon I got a response back that they can't release it until their legal department says it's okay to release the fiscal information. So I will probably be back in front of you, hopefully with a little more information about, is there any money in the fund and what they've done, because it's pretty opaque at this point. So it's just been an adventure of bureaucracy. That's all I can tell you. I don't know.
Have you learned who the benefactors of that organization are, or the beneficiaries of that organization?
Well, the beneficiary would be the dependents of any volunteer peace officer, but the wording is volunteer peace officers employed by police departments. And that's almost contraindicated, and not covered by another pension fund. But I'd like to have a little more information. The rules have not been evolved or changed, so what I have is from 2016. It's just kind of an interesting project.
Yeah, I look forward to you sharing it with us.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Tom. Anyone else?
Yeah,
Dan?
I promise not to cuss. Just yet. My name's Dan York, live at 4246 Oriole. I already talked to Chief Johns about getting some information to try and get that information out to the residents of Ross Township. I honestly believe that if they knew exactly what's going on and what the situation is, I don't think you're going to have I don't think you would have as big a problem with the new renewal as we did with the last thing, because people just didn't understand what was going on. The Ross IGA, I ran into one of the ladies who was a manager up there. I ran into her last Friday, and I asked her what was going on, and she said, well, the store owner was about to be locked out because he was 3 or 4 months behind in his rent. Now, this is what she's telling me. She was an employee. Then I asked her, I said, well, are they going to do anything with that? She said, well, the bad part about it is the compressors in the freezers are mostly all bad, and they need to be replaced, and that takes money. And apparently the guy that's got a hold of the access right now, who just got locked out, he didn't have the money to do that stuff. As far as economic development and maybe stepping out and trying to put the word out that maybe that we need something like that, and see if there are people that are interested in maybe coming in and doing something with it that would benefit the landlord, and it would also benefit the community. Now, I'll share an example here. About a little more than 25 years ago, Rising Sun, Indiana, they got that gambling license. They put that boat in down there. Most of those people, they got good jobs on the boat. Everybody was happy. And some people, kept mentioning to the local mayor and council and commissioners and stuff, that maybe they need to kind of invite some other businesses, small businesses, in down there. They didn't do that. Now they're looking to move that license from Rising Sun to Indianapolis. They closed that boat. Well, as of today, I was down there, and somebody said that they were dressed really warm, but they just come off the boat. They were in the store, and the boiler's out, and they don't have the parts to fix it. So everybody's sitting on the boat gambling in their thermal underwear and everything. So I don't know, but this is an example of what can happen. And we've lost a store, and that we really needed that store. Now we either got to go to Hamilton, Oxford, or Coleraine, or up in Fairfield to the Kroger store. And I'm going to tell you something, those people like me don't like going to those big old stores because it's too much. This was perfect. Now, the IGA in Rising Sun is owned by an individual who is a resident of Ross Township. And I've been in down there over the last year or so, and I run into him a few times, a great guy. And he said, I asked him about it. He said, Dan, I don't want anything to do with that. He said, you get in up there, man. He says, it's hard enough doing what he's doing down there. Because he ended up buying 2 stores, had to sell one, the one in Aurora. But it just seems to me that there ought to be a way for us to kind of reach out or put out some information in that business community to kind of see if there's any, like going fishing, man, put the bait in the water. I don't know how to go about doing that without putting somebody in a bad light, because it's the one thing you don't want to do, just like you were saying before. But it's, we really need something. We really do. And as far as this property taxes, and I was kind of jumping on that, no property tax, but I look around and I see what it can cause. And I'm just, we got to do something here as far as trying to keep this fire department, because we got nothing. If we end up with nothing there, we got nothing over there. Then we got nothing here. Then who's going to do what? We're going to have the county come in? Then it's going to cost us more. I don't know what the answers are, but if there's some way I can help, I'm around.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you, Dan.
Appreciate it.
Closing action. Is there any further discussion to come before the board? Hearing none, move for the adoption of motion number 26-014 to adjourn the work session. I need a second.
Second?
Roll call or discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Hatton?
Yes.
Trustee Bennett?
Yes.
Trustee McGurran?
Yes. Next meeting is February 3rd, 2026 at 6 p.m. here at the Ross Township Government Center. Thank you for coming out tonight.